the sound that changed human freedom. Before the roar, there was silence. No engines cutting through the wind. No sudden blur racing past city streets. No lone rider chasing the horizon. Only footsteps. Heavy, slow human footsteps. Across the dusty roads of London, the crowded avenues of New York City, and the quiet countryside stretching across Europe. Movement was a test of endurance. Travel was measured, not in speed, but in patience. Then, in a small workshop in Stuttgart, a man imagined something radical. What if a person could ride, not behind a horse, not inside a carriage, but alone, powered by fire? That idea would ignite a revolution. This is the story of the motorcycle. How it was born, why it was created, how it reshaped human civilization, and where it may take us next. A world that moved too slow. For most of human history, movement was limited by the body and by animals. If you wanted to go somewhere, you walked. If you had wealth, you rode a horse. If you had power, you traveled in a carriage. But even the fastest horse had limits. A journey from one town to another could take days. Crossing countries could take weeks. And crossing continents could take months. In the growing industrial cities of the 19th century, especially in places like Manchester, this slow pace became a problem. Factories were expanding. Workers needed to travel. Goods needed to move faster. The world was accelerating, but people weren't. Then came a machine that changed everything. The bicycle. The first spark. The bicycle revolution. Before the motorcycle, there was the bicycle. Lightweight, efficient, personal. For the first time, a person could move faster than walking, using only their own energy. Bicycles became popular across Europe and America. They represented freedom, especially for the working class. But inventors weren't satisfied. They began asking a dangerous question. What if we could remove the human effort entirely? What if the bicycle could move? On its own, the men who changed motion forever. In Germany, 2 engineers were quietly working on a revolutionary idea. Gottlieb Daimler, Wilhelm Maybach. They were not trying to build a motorcycle. They were trying to build something far more important. A small lightweight engine that could power vehicles. At the time, engines already existed, but they were massive steam engines, too heavy, too slow, too impractical for personal transport. Daimler wanted something different, something compact, something powerful, something that could fit anywhere. But to prove it would work, he needed a test. 1885. The machine that shouldn't have worked. The year was 1885. Inside a modest workshop in Stuttgart, Daimler and Maybach built a strange-looking machine. They called it the Right Wagon, the riding car. It wasn't elegant, it wasn't stable, and it certainly didn't look like the motorcycles we know today. It was made largely of wood, powered by a small gasoline engine equipped with 2 main wheels and 2 small side wheels for balance. It looked like a hybrid between a bicycle and a primitive engine experiment, but it carried something extraordinary inside it. The future, the first ride, a moment that echoed through time. When the machine was ready, Daimler didn't ride it himself. Instead, his son, Paul Daimler, climbed onto the wooden frame. The engine was ignited. It rattled. It shook. It struggled. Then, slowly, it moved. Not pushed, not pulled, but powered by its own engine. That moment marked the birth of the motorcycle. The journey was short. The machine overheated. It was unstable and dangerous, but it proved something revolutionary. A single person could travel independently, powered by a machine. Why the motorcycle was invented? The motorcycle wasn't created just for transportation. It was created to solve a problem. How do we make mobility faster, lighter, and independent? Daimler's goal was to demonstrate the power of the internal combustion engine. The motorcycle was simply the easiest way to prove it. But what began as an experiment quickly became a revolution, because once people saw what it could do, they wanted more. From experiment to industry. By the early 1900s, inventors across the world were improving the design. In the United States and the United Kingdom, new companies emerged. Harley-Davidson, Indian Motorcycle Triumph. Motorcycles. These companies transformed the motorcycle from a fragile prototype into a powerful machine. They introduced steel frames instead of wood, stronger engines, pneumatic tires, better control systems. Motorcycles became faster, more reliable, more practical. They were no longer experiments, they were tools. How a motorcycle is built. Inside the machine. At its core, a motorcycle is a balance of engineering and physics. It requires engine, converts fuel into motion frame, holds everything together. Transmission, transfers power to the wheels. Fuel system, stores and delivers fuel. Brakes control speed and safety. Suspension, absorb shocks. Wheels and tires, maintain balance and traction. Modern factories use robotics and precision engineering. But the principle remains unchanged since 1885. Energy, motion, freedom before and after. A civilization transformed. Before motorcycles, rural communities were isolated. Emergency response was slow. Personal mobility was limited. After motorcycles, people could travel independently. Goods could be delivered faster. Cities expanded outward. Rural areas became connected. Motorcycles became especially important during wartime, where they were used for communication and rapid movement. They saved time, and sometimes they saved lives. The motorcycle. In modern life, today, motorcycles are everywhere. In countries across Asia, they are essential for daily transportation. In cities across the United States and United Kingdom, they are used for commuting delivery services. Law enforcement, recreation sports, and racing. Motorcycles are not just machines. They are lifestyles. They represent independence, speed, and identity. The double-edged sword. Impact on humanity. Like all powerful inventions, motorcycles brought both benefits and consequences. Positive impacts. Freedom of movement, economic. Growth, job creation. Faster emergency services. Negative impacts. Road accidents and fatalities. Air pollution, noise pollution, urban congestion. The motorcycle empowered humanity, but it also introduced new risks. The future. Where does the road lead? The motorcycle is evolving once again. Electric motorcycles are replacing fuel-powered engines. Artificial intelligence is being integrated for safety. Self-balancing systems are being developed. The next generation of motorcycles may be silent, smart, sustainable. And yet, the core idea remains the same. A person, a machine, a road. The ride that never ends, from a wooden machine in Stuttgart to roaring highways across the world. The motorcycle has carried humanity forward, faster, farther, freer. It began as an experiment. It became a revolution. And today, it stands as one of the most powerful symbols of human independence. Because deep down, every rider shares the same feeling. The desire to move forward, to escape limits, to chase the horizon. And as long as that desire exists, the motorcycle will never stop evolving.